First of all, good morning, everyone. My name is Zijun. I'm an implementation consultant in the Arbinger Institute. Today, we'll be looking at how some of the common problems or challenges organizations face and how we're solving those problems, especially are we tackling the symptoms or are we actually addressing the root cause? So before we officially start the webinar, some admin matters first. Number one, if you have any technical issues with Zoom, if you have the video is freezing or anything with Zoom, you can always watch this webinar live on YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and search Arbinger Singapore/Malaysia. You'll be able to watch it online. Number two, your questions are extremely important to us. So do share your questions in the chat box or email us at clientrelations@arbingerse.com. We'll get back to your question as soon as we can. Number three is that all the registered participants will receive the link to the YouTube recording in our follow-up emails. So you can share the link with your colleagues or friends or family, whoever you think they'll benefit from this webinar. Number four is that we also welcome you to get in touch with us on social media. So we have our Facebook page as well as our LinkedIn page to ask questions and add us on social media whenever you have a question or you want to talk to us. The last one, during the webinar, I'll be inviting all of you to participants in discussions. So to share your thoughts and ideas. So you can use your mic or you can use the chat box whenever needed. That's all the admin matters. And with that, let's begin today's webinar. We're going to start this webinar with a real story. Now, this is my story that happened about 6 years ago before I joined the Arbinger Institute. So back then I was working in China. And so let me ask you a first question. Have you ever worked with other departments in your life? Well, of course, we all work with other departments and other people. Right? So this story, 6 years ago, I was working as the head of the counselors in the biggest international education group in China. Um, and I was actually working with three different departments. Number one is the sales. And I also work with the marketing department and I was leading the counselors. So this is me in the red box on the left hand. What we did was we were trying to design a program for students to prepare them socially, emotionally, and academically for the best universities in the world. The plan was that we're going to design this program and then naturally we're going to market and then we'll sell it. And so here I was with my team of counselors. We had long discussions. We sacrificed the weekends and holidays. We cracked our heads and finally we designed the program. So now we have a product. And then we were so excited and we wanted to help this program to be successful. We want to do more. So we translate the program into different languages. We proactively thought about sales strategies without the sales department even asking. We also proactively thought of marketing activities without the marketing people even asking. We also did a lot of other things where we thought would be helpful to make this program a success. So we were really excited. We can't wait to make this realistic, make it materialized. So here we are. We took the program, we took it to the marketing people. They start marketing campaigns. Leads are coming in. The sales department are getting leads. They were able to follow up, but they were able to close the deals. So we're getting even more excited because we can't wait for the sales number to go up. We can't wait to get the commission. We go on nice holidays, and maybe we can retire early. Not just kidding. So this is what happened. And as a result, right, we noticed this program that we designed was actually one of the best programs on the market. It was generating 20,000 US dollars per person, per client. And every month we were able to get more clients as a result of referral. Students are achieving great results and parents are very happy with the service. They were highly satisfied. So now I have a question for all of you. Would you consider this program a success? So just let me quickly launch your poll and then you can type your answer in the poll. So there you go. Please choose your answer. Would you consider this program we designed a success, considering the business results that we were achieving? I see the results coming in. Please do choose your answer. Just checking, can every one of you see the poll? Okay, so if you can see, can you kindly choose the answer and then submit? Thank you. Somehow I'm not seeing the results. I'm not sure why. Thank you everyone for participating. For some strange reason, I'm not able to see the results. I'm very sorry for the technical issues that we have. Now, okay, let's continue. I think most of you would submit yes or maybe as the previously we did. So thank you for okay, I can see that. So 20% said successful, 49% choose yes. So a lot of you are choosing that this is successful result. Great. Thank you for the vote of confidence and thank you all for participating. Now, I was also very confident that I would get the commission, I would get the holidays I deserve, and the early retirement, and so on. And so let's look at the reality, what happened. So this is the reality. We start to lose people in every single department. Of course, we were able to replace some of the positions, but many of them remain vacant. People were under a lot of stress. Relationships between the departments were worsened. And eventually, I left the job as well. I moved to Malaysia, and here I am. And the program actually died not long after that. So surprise, a different result as we participated. Now let's think about this together, right? Why do people leave jobs? Surely people leave jobs for different reasons, right? But a bigger question is this: do great business results alone really make people stay in their jobs? What has been your experience? That's a question I will invite you to consider at this point. Now let's come back to the story and really analyze why this program wasn't a success and what we can learn from this story. So think about it. When you have a program like this, that you're working with departments, is it possible that the counselors who is leading the program that will be working with the students that have potential challenges or burdens or worries? It is very likely that we'll face different challenges, right? Now let's think about the marketing department. It is also possible that the marketing people would have challenges when they market the program. They will have difficulties finding the money, the audience, and so on. Of course they would. Now let's look at the salespeople. Would the salespeople have challenges or burdens or worries when they try to sell this program, when they try to close the deal, convince the potential customers? Of course they would. However, When I designed the program, I was only focusing on 3 things. Number 1, what I'm able to do, which is to do the designing. Number 2, what I want to do, which is to translate into different languages, which is to thought about different activities, thought about sales strategies. That also means I was really focusing on how I want the program to be marketed and sold. But at the same time, all those people, they have their concerns, challenges, potential burdens. I was so blind to their needs, goals, challenges, burdens, and etc. I was ignoring those people and departments as if they did not exist. I was only doing my job without considering how I might be affecting others. So now the question for you is this: have you ever worked with someone like me, who is only trying to do his or her job without considering others? Have you ever worked with people like this? Now I can see the chat. A lot of you are saying, yes, we have all worked with people like this, right? So now the question for you is this: what kind of problem is this? What's wrong with me and people like me? I believe there are a lot of HRs in this webinar. So HR friends, what is this kind of problem? What's wrong with this kind of people? Well, we can ignore stakeholders' impact, bias, and so on, right? Thank you for your answers. So actually, let's think about it. This is the working in silos, poor collaboration problem, isn't it? Silos, KPI, they want to get things done quickly at their will and within their control. Again, I can see a lot of answers coming in. Thank you so much. So yeah, it is a collaboration working in silos problem. But now the question is, how do people normally address this working in silos poor collaboration problem? Can you please type your answer in the chat box? Thank you. What do we do when we notice a collaboration problem or working in silos problem? Okay, I can see some answers says invite for conversation, bring them into a team. We have meetings, we have conversations. Uh, Sometimes we send them for team building training. We teach them how to write emails, how to talk to people, how to have conversations, try to understand them. Okay, thank you for all your answers. Right, but let me ask you, do all those solutions always work? Why or why not? There's some other answers like talk to key person who initiate that change for further details, especially those who are introverts. Okay, so all those solutions, do they always work? Why or why not? Some people are saying it can work, but it takes time. It works when I'm proactive and getting information. Okay, what else? Not necessarily. It depends on how I start that conversation or my action, because that will determine response that I'm gonna get. And Suresh said different paradigm. So again, thank you very much. You notice that all those solutions that we just tapped into the box don't always work. And I'm going to propose you a different way to look at this working in silos collaboration problems. And the different way is this: those problems, working in silos, poor collaboration, they are not really behavior, skill problems. They are actually attitude, mindset problems. And to solve an attitude mindset problem, we need a mindset solution, not a behavior solution. Because thinking about it, let's think about it. Teaching them certain skills won't really solve the problem when the problem is not in skills, when the problem is actually in mindset, right? And this is such an important point. Let's explore more and have a look at what other challenges and problems organizations normally have. Now let's imagine your own organization. You come to work, you meet a lot of people. Now you got two employees, employee and employee A and employee B, right? Employee A is very difficult to work with. He is very insensitive to others, always offend others by his words or actions. But the thing is, he actually delivers the result. He can get the work done. And B is, on the other hand, very nice, always have good intentions, very polite, very kind, but cannot be counted on, cannot deliver the results, and undermines the team's results. Now, what kind of problem are these? What is wrong with A and B? Do share your thoughts in the chat box again. So what is the problem with A and B? What kind of problems are they? Behavior problem? What else? So one is able to deliver results and another one is not able to deliver the results. Culture fit. What else? I mean, you have all the correct answers, right? There is no right or wrong, but simply looking at their deliverables, this is a performance problem. Right? Their performance in regards to the result and their performance in regards to working with other people. So now again, the question is, how do we normally address a performance problem? Please type your answers in the chat box and share with each other. So performance problem means we need coaching, we need to do KPI review, we need to send them on PIP, consult the employee, training, coaching, etc. Right? But again, do those solutions always work? Why or why not? Communication. Do they always work? Not always. Readiness for change. I can see a lot of answers from Phoebe. So right. So the point is, right, those solutions don't always work. Why? Because performance problems, when you think hard about it, they are not just solely behavior and skill problems. They are, again, an attitude mindset problem. And in fact, the truth about skills training is this. Any skill, regardless of its independent power or appeal, will ultimately reflect the way of being of the person performing it. What does it mean? Right? It means skills are extremely important, but what's more important is the mindset of the people who performing those skills. Let's think about it. Let's say I have a lot of skills, but as long as my mindset is not helpful, number one, I'm not going to use the skills that I have. And number two, if I'm actually a toxic person, that I'm actually going to use the skills, but not use the skills for you. I'm going to use my skills against you. So the skills ultimately reflect the way of being of the person, reflect the mindset of the person who is performing them. And by the way, if you like this kind of posters or even short videos that demonstrate those small pondering thoughts, you can always follow our hashtag Pondering Thoughts on LinkedIn or subscribe to our YouTube channel, Pondering Thoughts channel. So let's look at another problem. Now we have employee C, right? C rarely involves herself in discussions. She doesn't share her opinion. She doesn't provide feedback for team or organization development, and she often seems very paranoid. Now, what kind of problem is this? What's the problem with employee C? Please do share your thoughts in the chat box again. What's the problem when people are not speaking up? When they don't want to involve in discussions? This is a very popular one, actually. So I can see disengage the silos, confidence, afraid of making mistakes, not motivated or interested. So yeah, exactly, those are the problems, right? But let's summarize that. This is actually a psychological safety problem. Like I said, this is a popular topic recently, right? So what are the common approach to address a psychological safety problem? Do share your thoughts in the chat box. So Phoebe said, could also be the employee doesn't feel safe in the environment to speak up. Exactly. Right? So what do? We ask leading questions to get my colleagues to come out of the shell. We coach them, we encourage them, motivate them, ensure that her opinion matters, and 1,000 different answers. But again, do those solutions always work? Phoebe said leaders to include inclusion in the meeting room, mentoring, not always work. Why? Why do they not always work? Why don't they work? This is actually in the name, isn't it? Psychological. A psychological safety problem is not a behavior problem. Again, it's an attitude, mindset problem. And so again, you notice as long as the problem is inside of someone, it doesn't really matter what we do on the outside to coach them, to have meetings, to teach them, to motivate them. As long as the problem is inside of someone, on the outside, however we try to fix it, it just doesn't work because the solution to the inner wall will normally solve the outer wall as well. So we have to solve what's inside. We have to start with mindset first. Now, let's look at another example. Now we have employee D. Now, D is unwilling to try new things, does not want to challenge the status quo. I always have negative perspectives regarding new strategies, and D is very afraid of get out of her comfort zone. Now, what kind of problem is this? It's an attitude problem. And what else? It's a wrong hire. It's possible, right? It's visualizes that he might not be able to cope up capability. Now, as any of the organizations that you're in talk about change management? So if you talk about change management, how would you categorize this kind of employee? They are resist to change, right? So this is a resistance to change problem. And like all of you said, it's mentality, it's lack of agility, capability, and so on. So how do we normally address the resistance to change problem in an organization? Do again share your thoughts in the chat box. How do we normally deal with people who doesn't want to change? Now, Phoebe said, get to the bottom of the resistance. What is the bottom of the resistance? One-on-one conversations, coaching. So coaching is coming up a lot. We send them for training. Prepare the staff in advance about change and how it is going to impact them. Give room for people to make mistakes. Allow people to speak up. Training is a must, and so on. So again, coming back to the $1,000,000 question, do those solutions always work? Why and why not? So they don't always work, like Phoebe said. Why not? Okay, so I see an answer in the chat box. It says all line expectations and discuss deliverables. If they cannot met, then redelegate until something works. And Nora is saying important environment is very important. It's all back to the employee himself and herself. So what we're saying is we can do all those things, but they don't always work. Again, why? So you notice the resistance to change, that kind of resistance is actually in our head. Right? It's not a behavior problem. It's an attitude mindset problem. So as long as the problem is inside of someone, again, it doesn't matter what we do on the outside because most problems in life are not solved merely by correction. When we see a problem, our reflective solution or reaction is to fix it, is to correct it, is to tell people what to do or how to do it differently. But it's all on the outside. So we're not addressing the inside problem, and that's why it don't always work. Okay, so now we have employee A, B, C, D, and also myself, the working in silos, don't collaborate with other departments. Right now we come to work. Now think about our organizations. When we come to work, we see all kinds of people. We get A, B, C, D, E, and so on. And every year we do an employee climate survey. And after the survey, we all kinds of problems get surfaced. Right? For example, low engagement, low performance, poor collaboration, poor communication, lack of trust, low morale, D&I initiative are not working very well, and we need to strengthen culture. Now the question is, how do we normally and we put those problems that we surfaced in different themes, right? So we have engagement theme, we have performance theme, we have communication theme, collaboration theme. So now the question is, how do we normally address those themes? How do we normally address those themes? Oh, we just discussed about those, right? So previously we talked about how to tackle engagement. So you see the reflective way for address those problems is to tackle them individually, one after another. And we talk about different ways to how we normally address them. We also establish that those solutions that we have don't normally work. Why? Because looking at those problems that we have, right, they're all people related. So they're all people problems. And the thing about people problems is this: people problems are not just simply behavior skill problems, they are ultimately attitude mindset problems. So we're not going to change anything around us unless we are able to change something within us, which is our attitude, our mindset. So to address those problems, we need to change people's mindset. Right? So the conclusion is this: day in and day out, we all know that change is needed. But the bigger question is how. So let's watch a short video and see what others say about the changes.
When you have a problem that needs solving, that's big, and you want to look beyond what you know. You want to solve a problem in a way that hasn't been solved before. You want accelerated change, exponential innovation. These are things that are exciting things. When you really leave a meeting when it's not happening, when you get back in your office, you shut that door and you're really honest with yourself, you know it's because you weren't communicating right, you weren't focused on the right issues, personality got in the way, opinion got in the way, you weren't working towards one goal, okay? And you know that. You just don't know how to change it.
You know exactly what you want to change. You just don't know how to change it. How do you affect real change? How do you help people change fundamentally, not just superficially? Justin noticed that there were some companies that really changed, while others could never fully make this shift.
We would buy lots of companies and assets that were in some sort of distress, usually financial distress. And so I got to work in wineries and automobile dealerships and beef processing companies and oil rig drilling. But the constant kind of theme through all of these companies and leadership teams that I worked with was kind of this change management. How do you actually get people to change? And so started to kind of, read a lot of books, went to a bunch of seminars, did a bunch of things trying to figure out what is it that actually can drive enduring change. And, had a very interesting experience in my life where I remember I was meeting with a group and someone was facilitating a conversation and they said, everyone who wants to improve, raise your hand. And every hand in the room went up. And a little bit later, the person kind of rephrased that and said, everyone who wants to change, raise your hand. And no one raised their hand. Fundamental change is very, very hard.
So fundamental change is very hard, very difficult. Why? Okay, let's think about it this way. In every single organization, let's say we have a current results or current reality, right? We have some of the problems, resistance to change, unwilling to adapt, low engagement, poor teamwork, and so on. We have those results because of our behaviors, strategies, rules, process, structures, and our styles. And we have those behaviors, styles, and structures because of our individual and collective mindset, because mindset basically drives behaviors, right? So earlier we discussed there are a lot of different themes and problems in organizations, and we learned whatever they might be, those problems are not real problems. They're only symptoms of a fundamental problem, mindset. And mindset here refers to how we see challenges, opportunities, choices, people, and so on. So now we know that if we want to get a different result, we cannot just simply focus on the behaviors anymore because mindset drives behavior. So if we want to get a new result, we need to find a way to address mindset. So now let's see organizations, they have identified a higher goal, a desired results. What is the common approach to get there? The common approach is this. Organizations will prescribe certain behaviors necessary to get to the desired results. So you will hear people say, hey guys, we cannot do the same thing but expect different results. So we do process review, we have to change our styles, we have to adapt to new behaviors. This is what you need to do and how you're going to do it in the future. Okay, so does that always work? Let's see what other people say about this.
A lot of the self-help in the business books deal with changing your style. You got to turn into some bubbly personality, or you got to be quick-witted or funny, or whatever the case was. And that never really kind of struck true to me, because my style is my style. That is who I am, and I've met many successful people with lots of different styles. And so when it came down to, look, behavior is a component, but really the underlying mindset is where the power is, a whole bunch of things in my head clicked.
Okay, so now the question is, if mindset is so important, if mindset is basically what drives all of our behavior, strategies, policies, and so on, then why are we spending so much time and energy trying to change behaviors? Let's watch another video.
Behavior is measurable. And so I often see people jump on behavior because they want to be able to say, hey, look what I've done. And now this is a result. While we may be able to show we've made some improvement, when we don't have the right mindset or we don't understand the mindset of people around us, we'll never get to the desired result that we truly want. By looking at mindset and how mindset motivates behavior, by making the adjustments in how I see others and inviting them to see me in a different way, it creates a level of energy, innovation, and work product that'll get us to the desired results quicker than focus on behavior by itself.
Okay, so the key learning is this. To make sustainable change, it has to be like this. We need to work not only change our behaviors, but also the underlying mindset that inform and drive those behaviors. And in fact, the consulting firm McKinsey, they have done intensive research and study over thousands of organizations, and this is what they concluded. Organizations that identify and address the pervasive mindset at the beginning are 4 times, 400% more likely to succeed in any organizational change effort than organizations that overlook this stage. And this means in the world globally, 75% of the change initiative fail. Sorry, I just saw a message says my voice is suddenly soft after the video. Sorry, let me repeat this again. Right, so the consulting firm McKinsey, they actually concluded after intensive research that organizations that identify and address pervasive mindset are 4 times, 400% more likely to succeed in any organizational change effort. So that means 75% of the change initiative fail globally. Only 25% of the companies can succeed in change effort. And those 25% of the companies who succeed in the organizational change effort were able to do one thing. And this is what they were able to do. They were able to help people shift from a self-focused mindset to the others inclusive mindset. So here we are, we just mentioned 2 different kind of mindset, right? So what are they and where did they come from? Let's take a look. Now, for decades, people in top universities and institutes have been working, such as Oxford, Harvard, Yale, and you name it, the top universities. They have been working and trying to explain a very common and simple human problem. The problem is called the self-deception paradox. Now, the self-deception paradox is a problem of not knowing, yet resisting the possibility that one has a problem. It means I don't know I have a problem. I'm also resisting when some other people telling me that I have a problem. That's called a self-deception paradox. Now, the research on self-deception paradox revealed 2 distinct mindsets. The one is called the self-focused inward mindset, and the other is the others inclusive outward mindset. Those studies and research also revealed how those 2 different kind of mindsets would influence, impact how we interact with other people and our experiences in different situations. Now, the scholar who made the discovery of the 2 mindsets, the inward mindset and outward mindset, is the founder of Arbinger, where I work, and his name is Dr. Terry Warner. Now, Terry made the discovery of the 2 mindsets in Oxford, but he is also a professor in Brigham Young University. So if you read the book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, you know Stephen Covey, right? He studied in BYU as well. So there was an interesting story that happened between Covey and Dr. Terry Warner. Because of that story, Terry started to use his discovery, the 2 mindsets, to help organizations as well as individuals to navigate their problems at work and at home. So Arbinger also published several best-selling books. The 3 books you can see on the screen are the most popular ones, including the first one, Leadership and Self-Deception, and the second one, Anatomy of Peace, and the latest one is called The Outward Mindset. Now, Arbinger actually provides training and consulting to help organizations and individuals through a 3-phase mindset transformation journey. Now, I would like to show you 2 videos and fundamentally see how those training, consulting, and mindset shift actually affect the way we do our jobs. Now, let's first look at the first part of this video.
We had to cut $100 million from the business, and we had like 30 days to tell corporate how we were going to do it. And that's a lot of money. Okay. It was a huge amount of money. I set up the meeting in what I thought was a good way to do it, and asked each person to focus on what they were going to do to contribute to the success of cutting $100 million. And I framed it, I thought, right. Everybody worked on it. We spent a whole day together. And the first morning or first day, we said, everybody stands up and briefs, and they all briefed what they were going to do. And it was painful. I mean, you realized you weren't going to make this happen.
Okay, so this is the first part of video. The person you just watched, her name is Louise Francisconi. She is the former CEO of Raytheon Missile System. Now you can see that Louise had a huge challenge, right? So if I'd ask you to put yourself in Louise's shoes, let's have a small discussion. Please share your thoughts and solutions in the chat box. If you were Louise, how would you plan to cut $100 million? Please do share your solutions in the chat box and let's learn from each other. Now, Jamie said to cut OPEC. What else? Okay, review expenses and optimize output. Cut cost. What kind of cost are we cutting? Phoebe says study the company financials and assess market impact. What else? Review underperformers. We can multitasking as well. We review back the budget and look at CAPEX or OPEC expenditures, or make ABC analysis and see where we can cut without hurting the business. We review the big ticket cost items and so on. Right? So you're all very experienced in cutting $100 million, I can tell. But let's see what exactly happened to Louise and what happened in the end with a mindset shift. Right? Let's look at the second part of the video. Here it goes.
I set up the meeting in what I thought was a good way to do it, and asked each person to focus on what they were going to do to contribute to the success of cutting $100 million. And I framed it, I thought, right. Everybody worked on it. We spent a whole day together. And the first morning or first day, we said, everybody stands up and briefs, and they all briefed what they were going to do. And it was painful. I mean, you realized you weren't going to make this happen. So we got to a point halfway through the day, and there was a person from Arbinger there who said, Louise, would you mind if I stepped in and help maybe shape this meeting a little differently? I said, please, help yourself. And so he said, I'd like you each to pair up. I don't care who you pair up with. You know, I always get hung up on, well, you know, these people should go with these people. He said, no. He's just pick a person, just turn around, pair up with the person next to you. And he said, we're going to spend 2 hours. Now, out of an 8-hour day, that's a lot of time. So, you know, I'm starting to break a sweat at this point. He said, we're going to spend 2 hours, and I want you, as an example, Louise, to spend an hour saying all the things that you really need help with to really cut money. What are the things that you're working on? And the other person did the same thing. We did that for an hour. And then for the second hour, he said, now I want each of you to ask the other person and think about what you could do out of the resources you have that would help the other person save money. Not cut their money, save their money. And it was like magic. It was magic because at the end of the day, we cut over $100 million and not one person felt that they had sacrificed, because instead I was thinking about the things that I could do to help you cut. You were thinking of the things you could do to help me cut. What could you do different that could help me do? It radically reshaped the business. And that totally changed. Check, we got the business results right away. But it radically changed the way we started to interface as a team, because it really taught us the power of listening to the other person and understanding how what you can truly do to make the other person successful.
Now, cutting $100 million Is that what we do? Well, yes, but we typically don't do this every day, right? So, like Louise shared, that she was able to cut $100 million, and no one felt that they had to sacrifice. And this is the power of a mindset shift. And the way in Arbinger we change mindset. Like mentioned before, we help organizations embark on three-phase mindset transformation journey, starting with the mindset change, then move to leadership development, and the last is system process review. We are committed to this process simply because to affect significant and sustained organizational transformation, it is not enough only to do training, only to do coaching and workshops. We must help organizations to implement the mindset, begin with the leaders, and then equip them to comprehensive knowledge to not only navigate their own jobs, but also help their own reports to navigate their jobs. We also partner with organizations to review the processes and systems they have to see where we can strengthen, what we can do to embed the mindset language, and what else can we do to naturally nurture the our mindset in people and in business. So now let's take a closer look at each of the three phases. Right? Phase one, mindset change, typically begins with a 2-day in-person or online workshop in which we introduce 4 self-awareness tools to enable deep reflection and heighten people's conviction to be more helpful, like Louise shared, to help other people to be successful. We also introduce them mindset change tools, collaboration tools, accountability tools, and influence tools, so that after the workshop, straight away they can go back and work with other people based on our mindset. The training also comes with an 8-week sustainment program and implementation coaching. So this is our signature program. But a lot of people or organizations will say that, we're very busy with our business. We cannot afford to go away for 2 days to attend the workshop. So another option to kickstart the phase one mindset change is to leverage on the newly launched self-paced video course called Our Mindset Online. Now, in this course, first they use a Netflix document-styled videos. It has 10 modules and 25 plus practical assignments to embed the learning to practice. This course is also supported by Arbinger consultants. So whenever you have questions, you have concerns, you always reach out to us by email. Now, this is phase one. And then in phase two, leadership development starts with a 1-day in-person or online workshop. This one doesn't have any online course yet, or we're developing that. So in this course, we teach leaders how to develop accountable people, not to hold people accountable, but to develop accountable people. We also teach leaders how to improve collaboration, resolve conflicts, and build relationships. We teach them how to supervise within our mindset and how to build leadership within our mindset. This training is also supported by advanced coaching and advanced training. So in phase three, we'll then work on policy and procedure revision, process improvement, labor management relations, and leader mentoring. This is also supported by coaching. So all those three phases will also be equipped with different kind of assessments so we can see the progress continuously. We also do train the trainers, so it will be easier and more cost effective if any organizations wants to roll it out to a larger group of audience. Now, if you're really interested in the mindset change, right, the next steps are this. First option, that you can attend our 2-day developing and implementing our mindset workshop on November 23rd and 24th. And currently we have a 1-for-1 deal, a promotion for this workshop if you register before the 16th of November. But let's say you don't have time or those days don't work for you. You can always request for the Our Mindset online free trial by emailing us at clientrelations@arbingersea.com. You can also set up a meeting with Arbinger to discuss your needs, requirements, so that we can suggest a helpful way forward. if you want to, you can also run a pilot 2-day workshop in-house in your own organization and then roll it out to experience the impact and transformation. So with that, I would like to know if you have any questions. We can have a little Q&A session right now. Please do share your questions in the chat box, or more detailed discussion, you can email us. Can we elaborate the DNI initiative? Sure. I mean, DNI initiative is different in every organization, right? So what do you do with DNI? Last year, I did a talk in a women's event called Women's in the Channel. So talking about the biases, because we all know that bias is contributing to DNI problems a lot. So if you think about self-deception, that I don't know I'm creating a problem, self-deception is contributing big time into our conscious and unconscious biases. And that's why I mentioned that when DNI initiative is not working very well in organizations, the typical approach is to teach people how to be more aware of people from different backgrounds. But that does not solve the fundamental problem, which is where our biases are coming from, which is our self-deception. Right? So in short, I cannot go into details because I don't know what is your DNI initiative, but in short, mindset change would accelerate your DNI initiative big time. Right? So another question, is our mindset similar to disruptive mindset? Okay, so we hear a lot of names for mindset, right? Growth mindset, fixed mindset, infinite mindset, destructive mindset, and so on. Many of them is named because of how we want to define them. So for example, growth and fix. Growth mindset simply means I think I can learn, I can grow. Fixed mindset means I'm fixated in the way that I think I am. Now, our mindset and inward mindset is slightly different because first of all, it's backed by intensive research. The research, Dr. Terry Warner made the discovery of those two mindsets about 42 years ago. So you can see there is decades of research goes into this. And then what inward and outward actually means is the way of being, how we are existing on this planet. One way of being is outward, means I'm aware, I'm alive to other people outside of myself. Inward means I'm simply living and surviving with a closed environment. I'm only thinking about my own. So it's slightly from a disruptive mindset. But disruption, having a disruptive mindset would be one of the benefit of having an our mindset. When I'm alive of other people, other surroundings, you will notice that my mindset, my attitude will become more open. So that's my answer to that question. Another, Sharif, thank you for your question. My previous organization, TNV, has benefited from this program. Thank you very much for your endorsement. Okay, what other questions you have? You can always tap in the chat box. Is mindset part of nature or genetic? Any research on this? That's a very good question, right? So I wouldn't say the mindset is 100% genetic or nature, or I wouldn't say mindset is 100% developed, post birth. So what we notice is this. First of all, I will use inward mindset and outward mindset. For example, no single human being on this planet is 100% inward or 100% outward. It means a mindset, the two mindset is a continuum, right? We're moving around. Sometimes, or in some situations, with some people, we're more inward. In some other situations, and with other people, we're more outward. Right? And the difference, or what shaped us in those situations, that could be our experience, the environment we grew up in. So you notice there are people who naturally are more outward because somehow when they were very little, they were taught to be alive of their surroundings. So it's not cast in stone to say a mindset is genetic or mindset is on the mother nature. We can shift the mindset, we can change that, and I can give you a lot of examples of how those mindsets get shifted and changed, and people can benefit from them. There is key components in changing mindset. In short, it's called self-awareness, but it's not as simple as you Google how to heighten self-awareness, right? Because there are different ways. And to change anything, I would say scientifically, you need to understand three questions. One is why, and the other one is how, and number three is what. If you understand those three questions, you can make most of the changes in life, mindset or not mindset. So the work of Arbinger fundamentally introduced number one, what is inward mindset? What is outward mindset? And number two, how we end up with an inward mindset. And three, how we can develop into a outward mindset. So that's very powerful. Regarding research, we do have some white papers. If you're interested, please do drop us an email or let you leave your email in the chat box or private chat. We can send you the white papers. And another question I can see, some people consider inward and outward mindset as priorities and to be managed. What are your thoughts? Okay, so first of all, I do think our mindset can be managed, right? Like I shared earlier, if I understand the three questions, what, how, and why, if I understand this, then I can take a more proactive approach in managing my mindset in any given situation. So I will notice the red flags I have when I go inward and catch myself and heighten my self-awareness at the same time to reflect and react in a more outward way. So that would be my take on that question. Another comment from Sharif says, Phoebe, it's like nature versus nature. I used to be inward, but the program made me self-aware about my shortcomings. I try as much as possible to be outward. Believe me, it feels good. So I can also share a lot of personal stories regarding that. Like the beginning, the way of working, right, with my marketing team, counselors, and the sales team. So with a heightened self-awareness, or at least knowing what is possible with an outward mindset, what I notice in myself is that I did consider what I did wrong in the past, the problems that I have caused for my colleagues, the sales, the marketing people, my boss, and other counselors, and so on, and my students especially. Now, I remember a particular story that I was working on an application for one student, and so she was applying to a university in America. Now, in America, some of the universities is called, let's say, for example, Washington University, right? That's one university. Another university is called the University of Washington. They're totally different. So this student had a similar problem, and when we submit the application, a mistake was made. So we submit the application to the wrong university, not the same one that she intended to apply. Now, reflecting on that, we were totally inward because our focus back then was how do we cover this up? How do we make ourselves look good? How do we not be blamed for the mistake we made? And so on. And we didn't say anything. And years passed, I've reflected on what happened with this particular student. I mean, she got into a good university, good on her, and fortunate for us. But the impact was that I have been carrying this burden for years, that I was finally able to get out of this burden, this emotional burden, once that I learned how to be alive to other people's needs, challenges, and burdens, and actually sent an email to the student who already graduated from the university said, I made a mistake very many years ago. So I can echo that, I can second that. You can manage it and you will benefit from the mindset change. Same interpersonal experience with you. Okay, so I'm sure there are a lot of stories that I can share. If you're interested, we do share a lot of stories in the workshop. So come and join us. You would see how we can resonate with each other. Right? Now another comment made by Nora. A mindset change takes out attitude and change not just to work, but bring change to how we interact with private life, i.e. family and friends. Exactly. And actually, you will notice that we use this language, this mindset concept, more often in our relationships at home rather than at work, because we do spend, I don't know, 80% of our time at home, maybe 20% at work, right? So like any training, it feels good. The feel good factor lasts a few days after workshop. It is difficult to sustain what was learned. How does Arbinger ensure our mindset can be prolonged? And that's why we talk about the 3-phase implementation, right? We do support clients to implement the ideas into their day-to-day work and their systems and processes. So I can still see a lot of comments coming up. Thank you very much for this discussion. I can see a lot of takeaway on my side as well. If no other questions, I think we can end this webinar for now. But last thing, if you want to connect with us, those are the ways you can reach out. We have our website, arbingerse.com. You can always email us at clientrelations@arbingerse.com. We have 2 YouTube channels. One you can see this webinar, and the other one is the Pondering Thoughts. So subscribe to Pondering Thoughts. You have all those cute little posters and animated videos that bring out a lot of reflections. And then we have our LinkedIn and Facebook pages, and we have our Instagram. So thank you very much for every one of you coming to this session. We do appreciate your questions. So don't stop here. Do email us continuously about your questions, comments, and so on. We're really looking forward to having you next time. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I hope everyone has a nice day onwards. Thank you.